All righty. Hi, everybody. It's so nice to put faces to names or black screens to names, depending if you're going to be just joining us with a video on. We're so happy that you're here with us today for our first signature chat. What we want to do before we pass it over to our rock stars who are going to be presenting today from the board of the Hazing Prevention Network. We thought because we're an intimate group that we'd actually do some introductions so everyone knows each other and can put a face to a name instead of just a discussion post. So for those of you who've been getting love notes from me, I'm Matthew Richardson. I'm a facilitator with Alive Tech and currently working at West Virginia University in the Greek life world. I graduated from this program in its initial cohort and have been lucky enough to be asked to come and facilitate and spread some knowledge. We have a really diverse group of people who are with us with cohort one. So I'd actually like to start with y'all and do some introductions. So I'll make it less awkward. I'll call on people if that's okay. If you could just introduce yourself, let us know who you are, where you're from, what you do, and what you're most excited to get out of the course. That would be so helpful. So we're going to start with Roxanne.
Wonderful. Hi, everyone. I'm actually from up north, so I'm from Quebec, Canada. I work at McGill University, which is an Anglophone university here in Montreal. And more specifically, I work within the varsity office. So I work as a manager of a program that's called Women in Sport and inherited of the hazing education program, which has been put on hold the past 2 years because of the pandemic. We've had some pretty strict restrictions up here. And so we're relaunching our hazing education program here. And so hopefully I'll be able to pick some things out of this class to make that program even better going forward. So thank you all. Thank you all for your help and looking forward to a discussion.
Thanks much. Appreciate that. B.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Yep. I am B. I am the coordinator of fraternity and sorority life and multicultural services at SUNY Delhi. A very long title, I know. And I'm fairly new to the position, but we're with COVID restrictions lifting, we are getting our Greek life off the ground, trying to put out some programming for them for the upcoming semester. So that's why we're, taking this course.
Wonderful. Thanks, B. Todd.
Hi, Todd Shelton, and I am the relatively new executive director for Hazing Prevention Network.
Thanks, Todd. TJ.
Hi, everyone. My name is TJ Horan. I'm the director of student life at Randolph-Macon College in Ashland, Virginia, which is just about 20 minutes north of Richmond, for those familiar with the area. Student life, do a lot of student things, student activities, student organizations, fraternity and sorority life, whole jazz there. So, and I've also been working pretty intensely in hazing prevention work over the past year. So that's why I'm excited to be here today.
Thank you, TJ. Mary?
Hi, everybody. My name is Mary Coulter. I am the Assistant Director of Collegiate Operations for FIMU, and I live in Asheville, North Carolina, and work remotely. I am very excited for this. We as an organization have become really good at being reactive to hazing incidences, but we are lacking a little bit in the prevention. And so I'm hoping that I can be kind of our expert and agent of change in terms of our hazing prevention model and what we offer our students and our members of our organization.
Wonderful. Thank you. Vivian?
Hi, I'm Vivian Ortiz from the University of Central Florida in Orlando. My primary function is assessment and grants, but as we have restructured and two of our very large divisions on campus, our Student Affairs Division and our Student Success Division have recently merged. And so as a result of that, I've been kind of also assumed responsibility for hazing prevention and education within that larger broad division, now called Student Success and Wellbeing.
Wonderful. One of my dear friends just started as an AVP down there, Chris McDonald.
Oh yes, for Housing Residence Life and
Yeah.
I've
So
met him a couple times. He's a good guy.
yeah, and he's all about assessment and stuff. So if he
Yeah.
ever bothers you, let me know and I'll smack him for you. All right.
No, thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, I think I got everybody who's a participant in the cohort. So what I'd like to do now is allow the Live Tech team to introduce themselves. So we will start with Anne.
Hi, I'm Ann Savada, and I am your project coordinator here at Alive Tech. I've been here since last September, and I'm also your point of contact for this program. If you need any assistance with anything or have questions that you can't otherwise answer, I'm here to help.
Great. Thank you. Tina.
Hi there, I'm Tina Rice, and I'm recording this phone. I helped build the online materials that you're working with now, and I'm an instructional designer here at Prevent Zone and Alive Tech, and I also have a few college-age students in my household, so yeah, I see it from both sides. It's great. I really think this is a great program.
Awesome. Thanks. Miss Sandy.
Hi, I'm Sandy Mills-Elford, President and CEO of Alive Tech. I want to thank all of you for your commitment of time and effort into this program. And I loved how Mary said that she wants to be the agent of change. And that's really what this program is all about. So thank you for being here, and reach out to me if you have any questions specifically for me.
Awesome. And now I'm going to pass it off to Luke, the Chief Operating Officer, who's going to chat a little bit, and then we'll dive into our program. So Luke, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Matthew. Listen, Luke Davis, COO of Alive Tech and Prevent.Zone, and just want to say, echo Sandy's comments of thank you all for being here and placing your trust in us at Alive Tech and Prevent.Zone with this education offering and becoming a certified hazing prevention advocate. We're really, really excited about the course, and this is really the first cohort of many to come, the first of 4 this year. So congratulations on being part of the inaugural journey of doing that. But just really excited to have you all here, have Matthew facilitating, and also have our partners from Hazing Prevention Network here, which are true partners in the Hazing Prevention Advocate certification. So just wanted to say hi and hello, and you'll see me throughout sort of the rest of the course.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So as Luke said, is one of our first signature talks here. We brought on some board members from the Hazing Prevention Network, which is previously the the National Hazing Prevention Organization. And they do a lot of great work. And they're going to talk to you about their mission, their why. Why are they here? And then maybe highlight some of the things that they do. One of the things that you all are going to get probably tired of hearing me say, as I say it at the forefront of every discussion that we have, hazing prevention is not a valence issue. What I mean by that is, as a society, we can agree on certain things. We agree that wearing your seatbelt is a smart idea. That's a valence issue. We agree that overt drug use is a bad thing. That's a valence issue. Hazing prevention is not there societally. We have people that believe that it has value, merit, and worth, and that some degree of it's appropriate. And that is a huge barrier to the work that we do as hazing prevention advocates. So the first thing we have to do is acknowledge that. Acknowledge that when you go and you talk to people or you do this work, you can't make the assumption that they don't agree that hazing has a place. And that's tough. But it's through that challenge that we start to see some really, really good conversations and organic conversations with students and athletes and anyone else in a group setting, as they learn that just one person has the power to infiltrate and stop and to eradicate the act of hazing. So with that introduction, two of the incredible professionals are here from the Hazing Prevention Network. I'll let them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about the hard work that they've done for many years and the context behind that. So I'll pass it on to our guests, Bonnie and Mark.
Thanks, Matthew. So I'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Mark Morris. I'm the Executive Vice President of Favor & Company, which is one of 3 insurance brokers that services fraternities and sororities. My past history, I'm a graduate of Iowa State University back in the mid-90s and went to work for my fraternity headquarters, Phi Delta Theta. That was going to turn out to be one of those 2-year jobs where you're traveling the country as a chapter consultant. That turned into a 13-year career. And at the end of that 13 years, I moved over into the insurance industry and just wrapped up my 15th anniversary earlier this month in working in the insurance and risk management world with a lot of the fraternity clients that we have. We launched our Fraternal Health and Safety Initiative back in 2015. Some of you may have heard that, FHSI for short, that was designed to help our clients tackle the 3 biggest claim issues out there in the fraternity and sorority world: sexual misconduct, hazing, and alcohol abuse and misuse. Since that time, one of the key things that I've always been a fan of is getting involved in other organizations that can positively impact our fraternity and sorority area, and one of those obviously being hazing prevention. I've been on the Hazing Prevention Board now for, this will be my 10th year coming up. I'll be ending that in November, and have been president of the board, I believe, for about 1.5 years now. So just to give you a little background about HPN, kicking off 2023, we hired Todd Shelton, who's on this call with us, as our new executive director. We're very excited to have him on board to help us push forward on our many efforts to empower people to prevent hazing. Todd joins us with 2 decades of experience in strategic communication and nonprofit management, so he's going to be spot on for us. As you have heard or seen with our backgrounds here, we're now the Hazing Prevention Network versus hazingprevention.org. Hazing Prevention Network, we like to say, is more than just a website. We're a network of people, of organizations, and of resources. For 15 years, we're in our 15th year, celebrating that anniversary this year. We've empowered people to prevent hazing across the country. Together, our work continues as a national leader in hazing prevention, teaching people to move beyond punishment to create a culture that stops hazing before it starts. I think that's the mystical challenge here, is how do we prevent it from even starting? And we know we're inheriting hazing as a problem in colleges and universities from high schools and athletics and everything else. So we do educate at colleges and universities, at high schools, in fraternities and sororities, in sports teams and campus recreation, in the performing arts and marching bands, clubs, and really, frankly, any organization that is out there on the dangers of hazing and how to create cultures where hazing is not acceptable. We continue our amazing partnership with our friends at AliveTech, who are helping put on this program today, to deliver online programming such as this advocate certification program, as well as Hazing Prevention 101, which has reached now over 800,000 students. So a lot going on with the HPN, and I'll introduce Bonnie. Bonnie, you can finish our intro up, and then we're glad to take some questions.
Great, thank you. I am Bonnie Wunsch. I am the Executive Director of Alpha Epsilon Phi sorority, a position that I've been in for almost 35 years. I started when I was 2. And one of my biggest areas as executive director has been to be a Phi's risk manager. And I have thought it important through the years, like Mark said, to get involved and to not only work with our undergraduates and our alumni, but to work with our campus partners and our community partners. And to that end, when the opportunity came to join, at the time, the HPO board, I was thrilled to do so, and think I've been on the board about 5 years. I've lost track. It's those COVID years. I'm not sure what are real and what is fake. But I am thrilled to be here today. And like everyone else, thank you for being here and taking a part in this program and joining us in our efforts to prevent hazing. As somebody else said, I also, as does Mark, we have college age kids in our house. So we see it. I know that my son went off to college knowing a lot more about hazing and what it was from the many nights in the car that he would hear me discussing risk management nightmares. Matthew, I'm sure that he heard me talking about our dealings together, probably was on some of those calls with us, but he's been able to stay away and help his friends to understand better what hazing is or isn't. And again, thank you for joining us in these efforts. Mark talked about our wonderful partnership with Alive Tech. I'd like to share with you a few other of our educational programs that are coming up. Most importantly is our signature event, which is our Hazing Prevention Institute, which this year will be held June 12th to 13th at the NCAA Center in Indianapolis. And Dr. Emily Perlow from Worcester Polytech will be developing our curriculum and will serve as our lead facilitator. Emily is a wonderful educator and advocate, and I am looking forward to seeing the result of what she is putting together for us. The Institute is geared towards those in the early stages of their career and graduate students and student leaders. And we encourage you, if you fit into that category, to register and to bring your colleagues with you. And registration is now open via our website. But we've added a new component this year, and we are very excited about this. We have added a hazing prevention symposium, which will be held on the 11th and 12th of June, also at the NCAA, just prior to the beginning of the Institute. And this is designed to be for the more senior level professionals with 10 years or more in the field and researchers. And this is designed to create a community of scholars and leaders dedicated to ending hazing, exactly what you are here doing. And it is a space for researchers studying hazing and hazing prevention and senior professionals to have the opportunity to gather, share, and interact. We know that there are a lot of people who've attended the Institute and want to go to the next level. And that too is the registration for that program is also available on our website and is separate from the Institute registration. So just a few other educational updates. We are planning, thanks to Todd's hard work, to reinvigorate National Hazing Prevention Week, which this year will be September 25th to 29th, and we will begin to get information out for that this summer. We also expect to launch a hazing prevention podcast ahead of the fall semester with a goal of presenting an array of hazing prevention related topics. If you have ideas for this, I'm sure Todd would be, as any of the board members would be happy to hear those from you. And we are working to build our network with more partnerships and with many people on campuses and other organizations who are committed to prevent hazing. We are looking, especially in the communities, bands and sports and high schools, athletics, not just the stereotypical Greek community that so many people pinpoint hazing to. We realize it is a much bigger issue. We invite you and your organization or your campus to join our network through membership. Our website lists the many benefits of our membership. And again, we mentioned it earlier, our website has been updated and more clearly explains these benefits, which include additional educational resources and discounts for many of our programs, especially those we do with Alive Tech, as well as it will explain the many ways that we promote members' efforts in hazing prevention. And we look to honor and recognize those who make an effort in these fields. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to join you today. And I think, Matt, we're turning it back over to them for any questions they may have.
Sure. So thank you so much for the sort of snapshot as to what HPN does. Looking at some of the cohort members, is there anything that they said that sort of jolted questions or anything that you might have about their purpose, what they do? I think I'd be interested to know a little bit about why the Hazing Prevention Network was founded. Was there a call for that, or can you tell us the story of the beginning?
Sure, and Bonnie, help me out here. Todd, you too. This was founded about 15 years ago by Tracy Maxwell, who is still actively engaged with us. It started as a kind of an outreach of campus speak, I believe. She and David Stolman got together and decided it was time to have an organization to focus on hazing prevention. Some of the original board members included Dave Westall, Hank Newer. Tracy was there. Anybody else? Bonnie, do you remember who's on that original board?
There were some representatives I know of national sororities as well. Eve Riley, who was a past NPC chair and national president of Tri Delta, was on that original board. Marilyn Fordham from Delta Gamma. I attended the first Hazing Prevention Institute, so I'm trying to picture who was there.
Sure.
Those are the names that come to mind initially. But I think you're right. It was David and Tracy had been active on the college campuses as speakers on many subjects and sent in many speakers through the years and made many presentations on hazing prevention, or to help. A lot of times they were the sanction from a hazing violation. And I think we saw the need to get ahead of it and try to prevent it. And of course, we're starting at the onset, they were starting with only the college students. And as through the years, as I mentioned earlier, we're trying to branch out beyond just the college campus and beyond just Greeks. And the best way to prevent it is to start early. And so that's why it's important for us to find those contacts at the high school level and eventually probably the junior high level.
Interesting. You talked a little bit about the Hazing Prevention Institute. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that opportunity is? Well, first of all, let me ask this question. Has any of our cohort attendees ever attended the Institute? You can use the reaction function or chat or unmute if you'd like. I've went like 3 times. Anybody else attend? No? Okay. Well, maybe it's a good opportunity to talk a little bit about what is covered there and what that experience looks like. Is that available, Bonnie or Mark?
And Mark, I'm thinking we've got Todd on the phone and he looks like
I'll jump in.
on the call. Yeah, I saw you took yourself off mute, so you knew where we were going to go.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Just to give you an overview. First, a pretty good description and outcomes and the tentative schedule are all available on the website. If you go under events, Hazing Prevention Institute, and it's all there. I will say that the last 2 or 3 years, because of starting with COVID and then last year in person, the Institute, by nature of going online, had really morphed into, while great presentations, it was really just a series of presentations versus a true institute. And that was something that was recognized. And I've worked with the Piazza Center and now Dr. Perlow to really bring it back to a true institute where you're going to work together in large groups and small groups, conversations, and in the end, we'll have had the opportunity to develop a hazing prevention plan for your campus or organization. And it's really geared towards student leader. This year, we've made a concerted effort to make it geared towards student leaders, professionals who are early in their career. Even if you've been in your role for 2 or 3 years, you'll still get something out of it. And then also grad students, because there are a variety of educational opportunities out there, including things like this for professionals. And so we wanted to something that would be available for both early professionals and students. The outcomes are listed on the website. It's all in development of Dr. Perlow has reimagined and redeveloped the Institute. And so we're excited about it. We've also, this year, we've tightened the schedule. In the past, it's been 2.5 days. This year, because we're aware of people being conscious of how much time they spend traveling for work or traveling for conferences, it's just 1.5 days. It's the Institute is Monday evening and then all day on that Tuesday, the 12th and 13th, so that people can travel on Monday, get in, get checked in, and be ready for the Institute to kick off that evening at, I think it's at 6:30, go till about 10, and then the second day it's breakfast at 8, and education kicks off at 8:30 and runs through 4 o'clock, so that if people need to travel, they still have plenty of time to get home that Tuesday.
Okay, cool. So one of the things that we're seeing a lot, well, first of all, let me ask anyone from the cohort have any questions? Okay. One of the things that we're seeing a lot of in higher ed, and it's a good thing, is evidence-based decision making. And I know that that is happening in the world of hazing prevention as well. Can we hear a little bit about HPN's partnership with the Piazza Center, which, quick plug, is our second signature talk for the cohort at Penn State. As we know, it's the Timothy J. Piazza Center for Fraternity, Sorority Research and Reform. What are some initiatives or partnerships that HPN has been doing with them as we get more empirical data surrounding hazing and hazing prevention?
Sure, I'll jump in again. This is a very new relationship for Hazing Prevention Network, and it really stemmed from the fact that the Piazza Center was very helpful last year in providing presenters for the Hazing Prevention Institute, which was held at Ohio State last year. In talking with Steve Veldkamp, who's the director of the Piazza Center earlier this year, he was really telling me about how amazing the conversations among researchers were during and after their presentations last year, and how it would be great to expand upon that. And so that's really where this partnership started, was that conversation. And I said, well, what would giving you more time look like? And that was the birth of this year's symposium, where we are being very thoughtful about connecting researchers with the senior professionals, those who've been practicing and can give feedback and offer thoughts related to the research that has been done and research that people think needs to happen within the realm of hazing prevention. And so that's really where the partnership that's about as deep as we've gotten with the partnership so far. But it's a great partnership because they're very much focused on research in the area of hazing prevention. There's some of the researchers are starting to look at hazing within high schools students, which we know from past research is where we need to be focusing, and it's just a natural partnership for us, because it allows Hazing Prevention Network to start thinking about what programming and what channels we can use to get programming in front of high school students. In addition to, we already have one great program for high school that's got a couple different editions of it, but through the Hazing Prevention 101, which there are versions that are geared towards high school and high school athletics, which is also in Prevent Zone.
And Todd, if I may just add, I don't think I've even updated the board on this. I met with the great folks from Piazza Center last week at NASPA, and they're in the process of analyzing over 200,000 responses to the HP 101 survey, pre and post survey in the course that all of you took to get access to this course. If you are a current client, as soon as they're done with that, we're going to make that data analysis available to you. The purpose for that really is to, number one, they're looking at the data and they're going to tell us what they think is relevant and useful for all of us as practitioners. Secondly, they are looking to help us improve the data because we're going to be launching a new version of the pre and post survey, which is really, really useful. We've had almost 1 million students go through hazing prevention. It's everyone's responsibility. So that's a lot of data from students that we were dying to give to a research group such as the Piazza Center. So that's getting ready to happen. So look for that. And then thirdly, we want to take the data, the questions that we ask in the course, and you'll notice in the course that we don't use a lot of severe examples of hazing. We don't want anyone to get any bad ideas from us, but B, we also want to make sure that any of the examples that we're using are in the gray area where they have to distinguish the difference between hazing and something else that might be an acceptable activity. With that being said, we use the pre and post data to look at our content and to make sure that we're pulling in those those data points back into the course so students will see that actually hazing is not acceptable. It's not normal. We want to norm the fact that being a hazing prevention advocate is where the majority of people feel we should be as students. So I'm really excited to get that information back from the Piazza Center, and it's coming to us in the next couple of weeks.
Great. That's great. I know my institution is one of the pilot institutions for the study on hazardous drinking. And one of the things that I'm hoping in our discussion post for the cohort students is discussing, hazing and hazardous drinking. Are they mutually exclusive sometimes? Are we sometimes confusing acts of hazing with hazardous drinking? Are they synonymous, right? So in later weeks, hopefully we'll be able to address that. But there's a lot of real instruments being employed. The National College Student Bystander Intervention Survey, the What Works survey that's going out. So we're really, really hoping that through a very intentional, data-driven approach, we'll be able to get some good strategies that all professionals can utilize. So tell us a little bit more about the future of HPN. So what are obviously there was a rebranding and new staff and all that stuff. So whether it's the board or Todd, can you talk a little bit about what would be your elevator pitch? What's on the forefront?
That's a great question. I think one of the key things that we're looking at right now is, now that we've reorganized under Todd's leadership, is we're looking to expand our number of people on the board and trying to find different folks in different walks of life. So we have a good cross section and diverse board, because we know that this is, as Bonnie mentioned, more than just a fraternity sorority issue. Further, we're also looking to expand our National Hazing Prevention Week, as Bonnie mentioned. There's going to be some good things coming out there that Todd's working on. And I think bottom line is, overall, the board is just interested in trying to find ways to have strategic partnerships out there with groups like Alive Tech and the Piazza Center and other organizations, so we can really start to take advantage of the research and the data that's been collected over the last 4 or 5 years. I think that's been the biggest change for me, being involved in the fraternity sorority industry for about 30 years now, is the focus on the data collection over the last 5-6 years. And how do we use that data to capitalize on driving different ways that we can better educate our students? And more importantly, I think sometimes we miss the ball and we focus so much on the students. And my old boss at Fidel, Bob Biggs, always used to say, if you haven't told them in 6 months, you haven't told them, because of the constant turnover. And one of the things I think we can start to expand on is, how do we engage with the alumni and alumni advisors that are working with the men and women in the fraternity sorority world? And how do we engage better with parents of the students that are actively still, daily conversations with their sons and daughters? And how do we help educate them to help then reinforce the concepts that their students are learning through the different programming aspects out there? So it's a multifaceted, bigger approach that we're trying to get our arms around and trying to do the best we can do with the limited resources that we have as a nonprofit. And hopefully we can continue to grow that by having additional strategic memberships and partnerships with other groups out there. Todd or Bonnie, anything to add?
I think you hit it.
Okay, great. We'll open it up one more time for any questions or discussions from our cohort. HPN is one of those one-stop shop resources, so I really encourage you to go on. Every year when we do the National Hazing Prevention Observance, there's a lot of great resources that are there that are updated, and a lot of free programs that you can utilize and add to your institution or your team's calendar. I'm hoping that we'll be able to share some resources about how to start a Hazing Prevention Week observance if you haven't. What's really great about HPN is, the last week in September is when we observe National Hazing Prevention Week, but they're very supportive of institutions or organizations doing it on their own time when it's most relevant for them as well. So resources are free to be utilized. So I really encourage you to go to their website and play around a little bit. So Tina gave us a link to the Hazing Prevention Institute, but from there you can navigate on and find some great stuff. Well, I want to thank our guests for coming and spending some time with us. I'm going to hang out a little bit. If anyone in the cohort wants to hang and ask questions about this week's assignments or discussion boards or anything, feel free. If not, we're going to give you about 24 minutes back of your day, which I hope is as lovely as it is here in Morgantown, West Virginia. But thanks everyone for coming today, and have a great weekend.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks to Alive Tech.